I always need like a few minutes of just like random B-roll of setting up at the beginning. I'll clip it up so if there's any like funny moments, what if we capture them?
Gag reel?
Bloopers.
Do you have like a little intro song or anything you do?
Actually, me and Oscar made one for the last one, but it refers to our initials being OD, where it's like ArtCast, ODcast.
Oh.
But we're not going to use that for this because I think that's going to be a different podcast series. This is the first episode of what are we going to call it? Conversations with artists.
Wait, is it a different podcast? Or just
I
a
don't know. It's
subsect
all going to be on the
current
same
one?
YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, this is
Everything's
tight.
rolling, so you should freestyle into the mic for it. Get comfortable. Hey Brooke, be the co-host.
Okay,
Sit down and talk into my mic.
I'm gonna stand here. What do you think of the book I just bought?
Did you? Did you just buy that? That's
I
nice.
just bought it at Target. I got a gift card.
Oh, love a
said,
Target
you know
gift
what?
card.
I can never get myself to actually spend money on a blanket.
Nice fall color. I like Target. I used to love Target. It's gone downhill in the last couple of years, I think. I don't know. Maybe my taste has changed. At least the clothing. Like, they have good home furnishings, I guess.
Yeah, the clothes stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, let me hop on the mic so they can hear my opinion on Target. Okay, what do you like about Target?
Well, I like the dollar section at the beginning when you walk in and you get the little dollar things. That's always a fun look.
Yes,
Look through.
the Halloween decorations from there are always pretty nice.
Yes, agreed. I like the kind of like weird back alley, like or like at the end of the aisle where they have the clearance.
Oh yes,
And
the
it's
little
just random
end
stuff. Yeah,
cabinet thingies.
Mhm.
You love a deal.
I do, and I love the where you get to scan your own barcode to double check the price.
Oh yes.
That's fun. Yeah.
Nice. Have you ever stolen from Target?
I haven't yet.
Maybe you should. They don't deserve your money.
I would agree, but
Or yeah.
they steal from me. I feel like they steal. From
Oh, they
everyone.
definitely do. It's way overpriced.
And then that damn Starbucks at the beginning, I always go there, right? And
Damn.
yeah, you overpay for stuff. That's why, don't tell anyone, but that's why I go on Amazon sometimes.
And
Yeah.
support Mr. Bezos.
Yeah, afraid to
You know
say.
what? I love him. I love his cock rocket. I love his supplies that I can purchase on Amazon.
Same day,
Oh yes.
never comes quick enough. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. What do you like at Target?
I like. Well, I used to like the clothes section, but I never buy anything. And whenever I do see something I like, I try it on and I hate it. So
Okay.
then I either end up returning it or just not buying it at all.
Yeah.
I like the food aisles.
You know what? I have a motto though: never buy beef from Target.
I don't think I've ever bought like meat from Target. Have you bought meat from Target?
Like, yeah, chicken, ground beef, ground pork.
Why don't you buy beef? Why
I
is
would
that?
definitely not buy ground pork. I don't buy ground pork anywhere though.
Ground pork is
Pork,
disgusting.
I know. I heard recently they feed the pigs like cardboard boxes and stuff. They just grind it all up into feed. Also, I know you said you didn't want to drink, but I need a little boost of tequila to get me going for this. So I have 3 shots if you guys want.
All right. Well, sure. I suppose so.
He's like, oh, don't mind.
Our boot shot
I want to take a
glasses.
picture of the boots first.
Yeah.
I love cowboys and cowboy attire. Sorry if you don't mind being in it. That's good.
Why didn't you bring the big titty bitch?
Well, because Zach was in my
Goodness, thank you. Wow.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. That was really good, actually. But is there some lime in that or something?
No, it's
No.
just like a pretty nice tequila.
I went to Mariano's and I said, you know what? Let me spend a few more dollars. Let me get a nicer bottle. I usually drink Casadores, but this is about $3 or $4 more.
Fancy.
These levels seem awfully low. Okay, it's
I
there.
don't like hearing my voice on that. I was like trying to hold a conversation with you and I couldn't focus
You're
on
natural.
anything.
I'm impressed.
That's.
Have you done drama or anything? Have you been in a play or anything?
No, I'm just very animated.
You should think about that, maybe. Thank you.
Do I have anything in my teeth?
Nope, you're good.
Cool.
You guys have similar teeth.
Do we? Oh, we do. Oh my God.
We
I've never
do.
noticed
We
that.
both have like big teeth.
You guys kind of have similar faces.
I know. I think that too.
I never really
You're
noticed
just
that.
like-
We do. Like a similar face shape, maybe? And I
Your
feel like we have
eyebrows are a
nice
little more
cheeks.
arched than
Similar,
mine.
like coloring too, like your beard and like eyebrows and your eyes are all kind of similar.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
Never thought about that.
Never thought
Are
about
you?
that.
What is your makeup?
I don't really know, actually. It's kind of a big mystery, I think. The people say, my grandma says I'm German in English, but I need to do the ancestry test. I don't really know.
Oh yeah, make sure you're talking into the mic. If it's too loud, I can turn this down.
Oh,
It is a little loud, isn't it?
It's all right.
Because it's got to be. We got to be talking pretty directly into them for it to
Okay.
pick up, but we don't need it to be super loud. Just loud enough that you can like
Testing.
hear
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's
I
good.
can't differentiate the mic from my own voice.
You can't hear it slightly coming out of another direction?
Where does Zach start and Dylan begin?
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
question. That's a philosophical question. Maybe we should start with that. Where does Zach start? Where does Dylan end and Zach begin?
I would say the eyebrows, really. I think Brooke nailed it with the eyebrows. Or did you talk about the arches of my eyebrows?
I said that, but you can credit Brooke with it.
I used to be self-conscious about my arches, and I used to shave them. I used to shave the peaks of the arches of my eyebrows.
Really? That they have so much character.
I know. It took me a few years to realize that, and I just embrace
Wow.
it now. I embrace my arches, and I have eyebrow peaks. It's what makes me me. It's all right. But
Yeah.
if you had peaks, we'd look really similar.
We would. Maybe I should Photoshop myself with some like peaked eyebrows.
Just a little Sharpie. What if I shaved my head and then we like dressed the same and went around?
Put on a little like bleached brown haired wig.
You could do that too.
Is that like the lightest your hair can get with a healthy amount of bleach? You don't want to like fry your hair.
Probably, yeah.
You have very dark hair.
It's an illusion because if my hair is any darker, you can see my scalp through my hair. So when it's lighter, it looks thicker because my scalp is less noticeable. So it took me,
When my hair was just thinning and not as far gone as it is now, I considered doing that, like bleaching my stubble, take the peroxide, like Ewan McGregor in Train Spotting look.
you could still
But
do
that ship
that.
has sailed.
You should do that.
I
That
don't
would be
have-
epic.
Don't have enough going on up there. It would just look like, and it would grow out so fast. It would go from bleached stubble to like also having a dark root. It would
Dark
just look
roots
weird.
are hot right now.
I have noticed that
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah, the Kardashians have dark roots.
So you know it's in if the Kardashians are doing it.
My mom made me watch that show. It was horrible.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
No, they're on Hulu now. It's just called The Kardashians. They've rebranded, but it was just so sad and depressing, and it's just crazy.
I'm just going to turn you up because I feel like you're talking a lot softer than me. Which mic is yours? Can you check?
Test.
Okay, this is you.
Test.
Okay.
Is that better? That sounds a lot louder. I can hear myself now.
That's good, right? You want to hear yourself?
Sure.
Yeah. You were talking very like loudly and freely before we turned the mics on, and now you're whispering. You've
I
got
need some earmuffs on. That would help, maybe.
earmuffs, like to make the world even quieter.
so you have to shout to be heard.
And then I can't hear myself. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank
the
you.
as yet to be named podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Sure. Thank you. This was fun. You really just springed it on me, but I'm going with it. Let's do it. Thank you for including me in your project.
Yeah. You're, well, Oscar is really like my co-host, so you're our first guest.
Okay. Shout out to Oscar. I don't
who
think I've met
couldn't be
Oscar.
here today.
Oh.
Yeah, you may have met him at one of my like storefront in Bridgeport gallery events, because he came to a few of those, and you came to the opening of the show you were in, the group show about cities and people. You had the beach drawings in it and some paintings as well. I think Oscar may have come there, but it was a while ago.
Does he make art? Did he have anything in the show?
No, he was never in those shows, but he does make art. He's been into Procreate on his iPad lately.
Yeah.
And he's a musician. He plays guitar and sings and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So shout out to Oscar. He was the one taking care of all the like hosting duties the last couple times. He would be the one who could like not be awkward when he says, "Welcome to the podcast. My name's Oscar." And that would get me to be able to like say, "My name's Dylan. Hello." Like without somebody doing that, I feel so awkward. Like
You're doing
kicking
great.
off a video.
I just noticed like you've got a great podcast voice.
So do you. They're eerily similar. Just like everything else about us, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I think our voices are different. But I like your voice too.
Thank you. Thanks, Dylan.
Getting progressively quieter.
Turn it up.
I'm going to compress the audio heavily, so the quiet stuff should be audible.
Okay.
So you're just doing like ASMR style, like very breathy. Where's my coffee? This is a mug made by Brooke's brother, Brett Butler Pottery. Very high quality.
Love the double B's.
Yeah. Brooke Butler, Brett Butler, they're all alliterative names.
Beautiful.
But her other two siblings are not. Their names start with M. So it ends with the two eldest siblings.
We know who the favorites are. They ran out of B's.
Yeah. But they get more variety in their names, I guess. Take a sip. So Zach's in from out of town, from LA.
Also known as Hunter.
Okay, sorry. Should I introduce you as Hunter? Should we rewind?
I don't really care. It's fine. But that's my...
That is something I wanted to ask you about, is your many pseudonyms. As long as I've known you, you've had like at least 3 or 4 names.
Yeah, 2 main ones. My birth name is Zach. My mom named me after a Lego commercial. Zach Attack the Lego Maniac. It was playing a lot in the late 80s. And I don't know.
It was a Lego commercial?
Yeah.
So not even like a Lego product or
It was
show, just a commercial.
Totally random. Zach Attack the Lego Maniac, and that was like the theme song of the commercial. I've Googled it, and it is online, but just kind of arbitrary. And it's a good name. I like the Z, but my grandpa's name was Hunter, and I've always liked that Hunter is like an implied action. And I never met my grandpa, and I just wanted to like. He had 3 daughters as well, so he kind of lost it was his last name, so they kind of lost the Hunter name. So I'm kind of carrying it on.
So there was never a Hunter Jr., you're saying? Like,
Well, yeah, if he would have had a son, that someone would still have the Hunter last name.
oh, it was the last name.
Yeah.
I thought you said your grandfather's first name was Hunter.
I mean, it was just the family name, so
Gotcha.
I kept it alive because I feel
That's
like...
cool.
Yeah. But
It is a very cool name. And what was the origin behind the HG? Is that Hunter gatherer?
Yeah, I don't know. That was all my buddy Travis who I guess originated that, or maybe I mentioned it once and then it caught on. So, yeah.
But that is, well, I guess we'd have to ask Travis if he came up with it. But it was because it is gatherer as the G, like the first humans, the two roles of people.
Yeah, I think that was an aspect of it, of like returning to your primal self and it kind of informing my practice or something, trying to kind of go back to that mind state or something. So that was another kind of thing I liked about the name when I was younger, when I chose to kind of push that instead of my birth name. But
when did you decide to start spelling your name with a K instead of a CH?
I'm so pleased you even know that about me. That was always my whole life was with a K. My brother thought, like, he was trying to help me out when I was in preschool. He's like, it'll be easier to spell your name without a C. Just drop the C and have it just be Z-A-K, which nobody does, really. It's kind of rare.
I think Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures might spell it that way,
I'm
too.
the only one. No.
Okay, scratch that. That's not true.
Yeah.
But so your brother said to drop the C, but you have to change the H to a K. It's not as simple as just dropping
Yeah,
C.
he was like 8, so yeah, I don't know. It was bad.
But you've never legally changed it. You've never pulled a Kanye and said, it's just Ye now. It's just Zach.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
Very interesting stuff.
I'm binomial, yeah, and it gets confusing sometimes, but
polynomial, is that what you said?
Binomial.
Binomial.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think it's really cool, though. I've taken my first forays into the how do you pronounce it? Binomial?
Binomial?
I try to add more letters to it. Binomial world, because I came up with the pseudonym Dylan Rage for my musical projects.
I'm aware, yes.
And I already feel weird about having that. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One's Dylan Robbie, which no one pronounces it that way at first.
It's Dylan Robbie?
That's the way, like, my dad's side of the family always said it, but it doesn't really make sense. It looks like it should be Rabe or...
I'm such a dig. You know how to spell my name correctly, which nobody does, not even, like, my aunts or uncles. And then I've been mispronouncing your name in front of you for over a decade.
I never, like, thought it... If you pronounce it anything differently, I assumed you were either, like, just being playful or, like, and but I'm actually surprised if people say it the way that, like, my dad's side of the family always said it. It doesn't really make sense. And it's a German word for raven, Rabe. So it should actually have a German accent, which nobody says either.
So is there an accent in your ID or anything?
No. And I think even in, like, German text, which I don't even know what the language, if the language has a name when it's spelled, if it's just like... This is going to sound very ignorant. Is it like Germanic characters, or what is English usually written in? Anyway, there's no accent.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you paint? Have there been ravens in your paintings? Is that why?
A couple, but I don't like make it a huge trend. It feels a little too on the nose.
Sure.
I did love the Poe poem, The Raven, as a elementary school child, but I don't identify that strongly with the raven image. But like having more than one name, I feel like easily gets confusing in our social media landscape. People want to know you by one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to have to throw people off your scent a little bit. To go back to the hunter analogy.
Well, it seems with Dylan Rage, like that's clearly an alter persona, an alter ego in a way. That's the way I took it, where it's like, this is my music side of my practice or whatever.
Yeah.
But Hunter, it's just like, yeah, you can call me that.
That's a family name. It's very valid.
Sure.
But wait, that was your mom's dad?
Yes.
Okay.
So her maiden name is. Don't steal my identity, please.
We can censor that.
But like last night, a lot of in grad school, most people called me Zach, and then last night, everyone was calling me Zach, and I tend to go by Hunter now, so it was quite confusing. But
yeah, sorry I didn't check with you before introducing you as Zach on this podcast.
Flexible. It's not like.
But is Zach even present on like your Instagram real name? Does it say
socials,
just Hunter?
Just Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
I will definitely put that as the text.
Thanks.
If I even post this, I'm gonna send it to you for approval, make it private, and see if you are okay with it being out
Perfect.
there.
All right, that's great.
I'm saying that just to be polite. I'm just gonna post. So we've talked about binomial.
That's it. Binomial.
Oh man, that's throwing me for a loop every
I
time.
always say I'm binomial, just to leave people hanging.
That's a good one. I remember trying to make that joke when with the term bipartisan, like political.
Yeah.
But now I don't care about politics, so I don't say that word ever. Are you very political? Let's talk about politics.
Wild card pivot. I mean, I care about things in the world, but when I do watch the news and read about things, it is quite taxing on my well-being, and it's just like I get upset and I feel helpless. So I don't always vote. I vote sometimes, especially if it's like someone I really believe in. But I'm not that political, I guess. But I care about things. But
I would agree with everything you said. I don't always vote, but when I do vote, I vote Dos Equis. I haven't voted in a while. I feel a little guilty about that. The last midterm, I think I voted for Biden, and I haven't since. But there hasn't been another election, has there? Midterms are this year, maybe? I know I get a lot of texts about various candidates, and I don't know why my number ends up on these lists, but they're all like Republican candidates, like desperately trying to like spread fear about Democratic candidates. They're wild. In fact, I might put a little like inset of some of the like screenshots of these texts because they're just
oh my god,
like, they sound desperate.
Do you have any enemies? Maybe they put you on that list, or any crazy aunts or uncles or anything?
Probably yes to both of those. I don't know. That's pretty harmless level of sabotage to just like sign me up for Republican text threads. It is annoying though.
Yeah, my mom would always guilt me, like, you have to vote. If you don't vote, you can't have an opinion. But that didn't really work out. I didn't vote in the last election when I should have. But
I might not have either. I said I voted for Biden, but I don't remember making a point to like go to a polling place.
mm,
It was COVID and stuff, so everyone was trying not to be in long lines and crowds of people.
That's my excuse too. I didn't want to go out during COVID. That's why I didn't vote. Yeah.
I remember everyone was like voting by mail that season, but I like missed the boat on requesting a like ballot, or I don't even know how you do it because I kept thinking I'll go to a polling place, but I would have voted for Biden and he won, so it just means I don't have to vote ever again.
Right.
I probably shouldn't say that on a publicly available medium. I just look like a total apathetic.
Got it.
We'll cut all of this.
So we met a long time ago. Was it in advanced painting at the Art Institute?
It was before advanced painting. It was a multi-level painting studio class. Jim Nutt and Richard Hull. That was before advanced painting.
That was the class we met?
It was the first time I had... we didn't really talk at all in that class.
Yeah.
We spent a whole semester in the same studio, and you were making like big figurative very like gestural, abstracted figure paintings at the time.
Right.
Did we even have critiques in that class? We did. I remember one now, but we didn't really like talk. I don't know how we got to meet until we were our studios were like side by side in advanced painting. Probably the following year, school year. This would have been junior year of undergrad at the School of the Art Institute.
Right.
Circa 2010, 2009.
Yeah, that's it. That's about right. Yeah.
We're really doxing ourselves now.
That was a great class, just to have those two figures leading that and just a part of Chicago history. But there's one thing that always stuck out to me in that class, which was how they were so adamant on like getting out there and like meeting people and networking, and like if you don't show up and meet people, you're never going to make it in the art world. But this was like just before Instagram took off, where you can literally live anywhere. And there are artists that are completely successful from their basement or from their mom's garage somewhere. And you never have to go out. Where I just remember taking that advice from like Jim Nutt and Richard Hull and them saying like, you have to get out there, you have to meet people, and that's the only way it'll work. And then everything just changed so quickly. And I found that so funny, where I just championed every word they said and I believed in it so much. And then like 2 years later, it's like all these other people, like Alpha Channeling got a big show like a few years later, who's a purely digital artist just on their iPad, and nobody even knows who it is. They've never met anyone.
Who is that? I don't know.
Alpha Channeling, he does like kind of, it's kind of like Kama Sutra drawings. They're all like quite sexual, almost Alex Gray, but a little bit cooler. They're kind of like digital Procreate drawings that look like they're done in colored pencil, and they kind of live on the internet, but then he'll print them out as well. And he's like had a few New York solo shows, I think, but I just remember seeing that phenomenon and it just being so new to me and thinking, wow, those guys were wrong.
We'll put a picture of his work and his Instagram handle right here.
But then it just made me realize like, oh, like the world is always fluid and everything's changing. And even if you really respect someone's voice, things can change and you never really know what the future will hold. You know?
There's a few things that stick out to me about you having that takeaway from the class. One, that's what you talked to them about?
No, I think that maybe Jim Nutt missed a day, and then Richard Hull used that day to like talk about Jim Nutt, because he was like a little bit younger and like younger generation and looked up to Jim Nutt a lot. And he was like, and he kind of, I think he said he was talking about networking and meeting people, but he pointed out Jim. He's like, no, Jim's work is so good. He never had to do that because he was never really a strong networker or anything, but people came to him. People sought him out. So he was the exception to that rule.
Did you take that class more than once or something? Or did I just tune out anything that wasn't like breaking down how paintings were composed in the Art Institute? Because that's all I really cared about.
I had a class before that semester with Richard Hull exclusively that I thought you were in, so maybe that happened in that class and I'm just confusing the two.
No, I think that co-taught class with Jim Nutt was the only one I took with Richard in undergrad. Well, that blows my mind because, like, I don't remember that. I think it's very true, Instagram age or not. I think networking is kind of king if you want to, like, show in physical galleries and stuff. I think it's still important. But if you want to just, like, be a huge social media artist, it's not. You just have to have, like, really eye-catching work. And
right.
You have to network in a different way. You have to network virtually and be good at that game.
For sure. No, that's not like the goal is to like hole up in a basement forever and never meet anyone. Like it's great to go out and have a community, and that's super important too. But I just, at that moment, I don't know. I think maybe back then I was more like, oh, I just didn't see that route being available, like using social media to promote your work and things like that.
Yeah, it's crazy to think back to that time when like internet art on the internet was like deviant art, and that's it. And like no respected artist was like really using it as a platform to get their work out there.
Yeah.
It started happening soon after that, but yeah, before like Instagram and whatever other social media platforms, it was so taboo is not the right word, but it was just like not respected or something.
For sure. But I mean, it has opened up the possibility for people who aren't in a major city to potentially have a career and for their work to be seen. I think that's really cool. But if you're in a city, it's better, and you can go see shows and meet people, and it does work out better, I think.
Yeah, totally. Do you go to a lot of openings in LA? There's so many galleries there.
Yeah. I'm new to LA. I moved there a year and a half ago. I do.
Where were you before that? Just here?
I was in Chicago. I went back to Central Illinois with my parents for like a year during the quarantine, got some family time in. And then my buddy moved out, or my buddy had to deliver a painting to someone in LA, and we drove out together, and we liked the weather, and we found an apartment, and we're like, let's just stay here. We got a good deal on this place. But shows are fun to go to. Openings are fun sometimes, depending on which one. But if you actually want to see the work, you got to go when no one else is there.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of going to openings, really, unless it's a close friend or something showing their work.
I agree. I've always been a little uncomfortable going to galleries. But if you go there and you have a lot of people, if you have like a crew, then it's super fun. I've only had that a few times, but it's like, it's nice.
Just to jump off of this talk about galleries, like what prompted you to start your own gallery when you shortly out of undergrad or during undergrad you started it in your apartment studio storefront space in Pilsen?
Yeah, I had a short-lived apartment space in Pilsen just off of 18th Street in my storefront that I lived and worked in. It was also my kind of second studio. It really started maybe early in grad school. After SAIC, I went to U Chicago in Hyde Park. And, it was kind of just an experiment, and it just felt like Chicago was this, like, rich terrain of, like, do-it-yourself passion projects. And it was just, like, I've always felt way more comfortable in a scrappy little closet that someone ran out of their apartment or someone's laundry room, or just, like, I just love that kind of, like, roll up your sleeves, Chicago, do-it-yourself vibe. And I finally had like a great space to do it in. And I had a studio at U Chicago in Hyde Park, so I wasn't painting a whole lot there. So it was like, if I'm going to do it, might as well do it now. And it was also like, it was an opportunity to like take some power and give like a platform to artists that weren't being shown anywhere. And just to do kind of like fun, dumb shows that I had ideas for. So I did like really kind of stupid shows. Like probably my favorite one was called If They Mated.
I got to be in that show.
Yeah, that was a classic. It was actually a great show looking back. I'm super proud of it. But there were probably like 15 to 20 artists, and the idea behind it was based off of that really dumb like Conan O'Brien skit where it was basically they'd take two random celebrities and Photoshop them together, and it was If They Mated.
I didn't realize it was a Conan thing, but yeah, I totally know you'd call it a meme format nowadays, but this was pre-memes.
Yeah. So it was just a dumb idea for a show, and then that was basically the whole thing, just take two things and put them together. And it was just like it was kind of a stacked lineup. You were in it. I got one of my professors, Scott Wolniak, in it. Ryan Travis Christian was in it, and my buddy Travis Fish was in it. He had this really great sculpture. He like never made sculpture, but he threw one together last minute for that show. And David Leggett was in it. who I'd never even met. I just kind of like emailed him out of the blue because I love his work, and he agreed to do it, and I was totally excited. And
Did he come to the opening?
I don't think he did actually. No, but
you curated a show with him in it.
yeah, it was a good learning experience. It was a lot of work.
You had a great atmosphere in there. I think there was one or two where you had like a rave environment. There wasn't. I don't think it was that show, but one of the others.
Yeah, that was the Good Times waiting room with Richard Williamson, who was one of my classmates in grad school. And
okay, right.
it was meant to be this kind of like a waiting room before you go into another space where the good times would be. So it was this kind of, there's this feeling of anticipating the good times, but you were actually in the good times, was like the anticipation of it, I guess. So there was a cake and music and a DJ. And it got pretty wild. It was pretty rowdy, but
yeah. Cool.
But
You've been like the template or like inspiration of so many things in the time I've known you, of like, making your own space, doing stuff yourself, making videos and like putting them online.
yeah.
You really were ahead of the curve on all of these things.
That was just all kind of like me just trying to do everything, because I wasn't really just painting then. I wasn't really just doing sculpture. I was just exploring everything. It was a good time. But then you started yours, probably pretty close to when I closed down the Honey Hole.
Not till 2016. That's when I got that space in Bridgeport. So I think the dates are getting fuzzy, but I want to say, maybe like within a year or two of you moving out of that space. I was kind of trying to ask you like what prompted it, and you answered it very well, but did you have aspirations of like continuing to be a gallerist?
Definitely not. No way.
Even when you started, you knew it was going to be temporary, or
Absolutely.
did you think it could be a career path?
I don't know. I would not want to do that ever. The whole like idea of like selling things and the whole business side of it doesn't appeal to me at all. And I think that's kind of the beauty with project spaces or apartment galleries, is that they're not meant to last forever, really. I mean, I know some do. Some do have wheels, and there are artists / gallerists out there who can do that. I don't think I'm one of those people, though.
Yeah, me neither.
But I liked that it was like, I knew it was probably just while I was in grad school, just while I had that space. But someone asked me last night, because they brought that up I was in a group show last night at U Chicago, and one of my former professors was like reminiscing about that space and how cool it was and how she loved that I did it. And she's like, "Are you going to do that again in LA now that you're out there?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I've got a studio to pay for. I've got my apartment. I can't imagine renting another space." But then she kind of gave me a look, and I was like, "Well, I guess, I do have a laundry room. I do have that kind of, I could just find a way. There could be a path forward potentially. Maybe someday."
Yeah, I feel like it's underappreciated, like how important those spaces can be for like artists that have like no other avenues to showing their work, and just like having a no strings attached like event to share it and meet people. But I couldn't imagine doing all that work again either.
Right.
And I only put on a handful of shows. I was mainly using that space I had as a studio and like living out of it. But
Right.
the shows where you have to put everything in the basement, or where all the rats were. That place had a lot of rats in the basement. And just like interrupt your whole life and studio practice to do a show for a few weeks. And I'm glad I had the experience, because now I know what it takes to set something like that up, and it gave me a new appreciation for it. But it's not what I want to spend my time doing.
Right, absolutely. And I don't know if you were like, if you had prices or anything. I never thought about like pricing or selling anything. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, if you want that, talk to the artist. I'm not taking a cut. This is just a passion project for me, you know?
Yeah, same. This is something I was meaning to ask you. Is like, how did you get into jam bands? What made the Grateful Dead so impactful to you?
That's funny. Oh man, the Grateful Dead now has just been. It's just like a symbol of streetwear. You know, it's kind of been co-opted by non-fans as like steal your face, and now it's just like the object of so many like kind of funny t-shirts, which is great.
They're funny.
And I mean,
like
yeah.
the skull one with the lightning bolt, or you mean the bears?
The skull, where they'll just like, you know, they'll take out the lightning bolt and they'll put something random in it, you know, and it'll be like kind of almost like a meme on a shirt, which is great. I mean, I want all of those shirts, but it has changed because I like sincerely like the Grateful Dead, and I don't like most jam bands, but I do like the Grateful Dead. I think I got into it. Well, I mean, my brother and my dad listened to it a lot growing up, and I hated it. But then, I don't know, I turned 19 and I took my first painting class, and my professor was like a huge Deadhead, my first painting professor. And he'd always like reference them while talking about painting. And then we went to like a Grateful Dead show together pretty soon after I took that class with them. We got to be pretty good friends. And I mean, you have to go to a Dead show and experience the Dead the way that you're meant to experience the Dead, you know, which is on hallucinogenics. And once you kind of heard it once, you could kind of revisit that place and like into like how this music could sound. And it just made sense. And I just saw like the artfulness in it and the kind of psychedelia.
But this would have been late 2000s, so Jerry Garcia is no longer in the
R.I.P.,
band.
yeah.
But who was, and this is before like Dead and Company with John Mayer. So who was like the other guitar?
It was Further.
Oh,
It was
that was
Further.
so it's like Bob Weir.
And I think the guy was like from the Dead tribute band. It was John Kadlicik, I believe. And he
I don't
did
know who that
Dick
is.
Jerry's part.
Okay, but they didn't use the Dead name. It was called Further.
Further with 2 U's.
Wow, how long did that configuration last?
Quite a while. Probably like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years until John Mayer came along, I guess.
What are your thoughts on the John Mayer era?
I only went to one show with them because I couldn't get into like the Dead 50th one. That was really hard to get tickets for, and I was too cheap to pay for them. But I went to one at Wrigley Fields. So that being in like the middle of Wrigleyville and seeing them was just totally off-putting. It was just not the right vibe. Like Further shows was like all these super old Deadheads that were really chill and really nice, and then the show at Wrigley Field was like young people and just kind of not the same vibe. I didn't like it, so I barely got into it.
John Mayer fans,
Yeah,
probably part of it.
yeah.
I mean, it's cool that he's introduced that music to a new young audience, but I've just never been that compelled by his voice or musical style. That's
Agreed.
interesting, though, that you didn't get into it till like you were 19 or so, and you experienced it live under the influence. But the fact that your family, your dad and your brother listened to it probably had some latent, I was going to say dynamism, just because that word popped into my head after the word latent, but that doesn't fit this context.
Is that like from art school or something? I've heard those two words together a lot.
Yes, I think the reason I remember it is because of you. I've heard you jokingly quote it after you heard it in a crit or something,
That sounds
because
about
it
right,
sounds so
yeah.
ridiculous. The latent dynamism in this brushstroke.
Oh, I love art speak. It's so ridiculous.
I I love it too when it's that like ridiculous, but I'm like when I find myself using those terms, I feel like self-conscious. But sometimes it's the way we communicate in that very academic setting of art. So you kind of have to speak the language. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Dead because like if you seem like someone who's more into like pop and modern music.
Wow,
maybe.
thank you.
I love pop music too. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe that I'm just judging by the music you use on your TikTok posts, but they're all like modern rap and pop songs.
That's true. That's the algorithm that feeds me those, I guess.
But the Dead is such a like wholesome classic band.
Yeah,
and their songwriting.
But there has been also, like, my painting teacher who introduced me to the Dead. You know, there's like the Deadheads Unite movement, which is like this group of gay dudes in like the 70s or 80s that would all meet up, and they had like this kind of like fan base of gay men that would go and hang out. And it's like, I always thought that was cool because it's not really associated with the queer community, I guess.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it couldn't be. Like there's such a loving, welcoming spirit in their music, I think.
Definitely.
Which I'm very unfamiliar with, honestly. Like I appreciate the Dead, but I've never been to a show or experienced it like the way I think it's supposed to be. On one of the previous podcasts, me and Oscar started talking about jam bands, and we talked about Goose. Have you heard this new jam band?
No.
They're all quite a bit younger, like late 20s, early 30s. Super good musicians, and they have that like Grateful Dead kind of vibe of like happy melodies and catchy songs, and then like 20 minutes of just musical improvisation. It's really I enjoy their music, so I think I could get into the Dead if they were like in their prime and I was finding out about them now.
I'll check out Goose.
Yeah, I think you'd like Goose. All right. Go to a show if they come to a town near you.
I don't like most jam bands, to be honest, but another one I did get into was Humphreys McGee. I saw them one year, and they do a lot of like weird covers of just random songs. And I like that. I like the covers. And I like about the Dead is like how they'll carry on kind of like the American folk tradition. They'll pick up an old song and make it their own. And a lot of their songs aren't really theirs. They weren't written by them. But
Right. They do like some Bob Dylan covers and stuff.
And some of those aren't even Bob Dylan's, right? He's taken a lot of folk.
Probably. Yeah, he's definitely borrowed from the American songbook traditions.
Yeah.
I might have to take a bathroom break.
I gotta pee too.
Maybe we don't have to cut anything, but let's just take a break.
You go first.
Okay, I will. It's a good time to make sure everything's still recorded. Wow, 49 minutes.
Oh my God.
But that included like 5 minutes of setup.
Is this like a famous chair?
It's based on like the Eames chair, but it's not a real Eames chair. It's like a knockoff.
I like that.
It's not very comfortable, unfortunately.
God. Coffee and tequila. I'm like peeing every 5 minutes now.
I know the caffeine plus the alcohol is just like every diuretic you can put in your body. Uppers and downers. Oh wait, I've heard tequila has stimulant properties, but I don't know how true that is. Like it's alcohol, so it's a depressant, but compared to other alcohols, it's supposed to slow you down less or something.
Huh. Is that your go-to, tequila?
I rotate. Like I'll go through like a whiskey phase and drink a couple bottles of that in a weekend.
What's your whiskey? What do you go for?
I've been buying really cheap like plastic handles of Seagram's whiskey.
Ooh.
You can get like 1.75 liters for under $20 usually. So
Can't argue with that.
yeah, tequila's more expensive, so it's a little bit more of a rarity. You can't really buy if you want like 100% agave, like good stuff.
I only
not
drink
Cuervo.
I only drink 100% agave. No, I don't drink tequila much. I like gin, which is also quite expensive. But Trader Joe's has a great gin out. It's like $8 a bottle, and it's really good. And I'm a gin snob. Yeah.
$8 for like a full size bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's $8.99 or $7.99.
I'm gonna have to try that.
You should. It's really good. But my worst gin is the Seagram's Navi bottle gin. That stuff's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I can tolerate their whiskey. Like, I find it good, but then Brooke.
Brink.
I was like combining drink and Brooke in my head, but Brooke tried the Seagram's whiskey and hates it. So maybe it's just me that it like fits my weird palate with its super cheap flavor. This podcast not sponsored by Seagram's whiskey, but it could be sponsored by Trader Joe's. Got to buy a bottle of that gin for next time. I kind of just want to take like a deep breath and shake out the jitters because I feel like we've both been very like reserved.
I feel like I've been whispering into this mic. If my voice,
you kind of have.
If my voice sounds whispery, I think it was too close.
But
I felt like I should whisper.
It needs to be close to pick up your voice, but you can talk like at full volume.
I can speak in my regular voice.
If you want, I can like turn it down even more.
I'll do better. Is it better now?
I think it's not a question of better or worse, but like it's like I said, like very seductive ASMR level whisper vocals.
Yes, the Grateful Dead.
But yeah, when you first got here, like you were downright boisterous.
Was I? But before the mics came on?
Yeah, and I think I probably was too. I do feel like I'm either matching your energy and like whispering, but I'm always very low energy.
Boisterous. It's funny. I'm always like, I catch myself being boisterous, and I'm like, oh God, I'm loud. I should peep down a bit. But
no, let's have all the personality out.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to talk about too much more. I don't want to like destroy your afternoon with this, but I do have some more topics.
Sure, yeah, bring on the topics. I'm having fun.
Was it just that shit art students say video that was your foray into like art, like YouTube? Or are there more that I just don't know about? You had a few videos that you played in like art school critiques. I remember one involving trees at night.
Oh, right. Did I play that for people? I think that might have been out of school.
I saw it somehow. I thought it was at school, but maybe it wasn't.
God.
Maybe you just showed it to me.
I didn't show very many people that video. That was really embarrassing.
I think it was great. We should put a clip of it in this podcast.
I don't know if that's anywhere. That might be on my Vimeo. It's private if so, yeah.
On your Vimeo.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a Vimeo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That art students video, is that anywhere? Is that like erased from the internet and all your prior hard drives, or do you have a copy somewhere?
Yeah. So that video Dylan helped me make there was that weird YouTube trend that was like blank, what blank people say, or shit nobody says, or shit whatever people say. So it was shit art students say, and this was like in the height of our art school career. And yeah, we spent one night with my brother and just made this ridiculous video of all these kind of cliche, ridiculous things an art student might say. And it was on YouTube for several years because I lost the password to that account. So it was just stuck on the internet with my name attached to it. But you had the foresight to not use your real name when I published that. So I always envied you for that.
Did you actually use Zachary Harvey?
I think
or
so.
Hunter Harvey?
I think it was probably Zach or Zachary, I imagine. Or maybe it was Hunter. I don't know, actually. But yeah.
Zach sounds right, actually.
Yeah.
Zach and Pablo.
Zach and Pablo Pollock, Dylan's other pseudonym.
Who's on your shirt? Yeah, that was my first pseudonym, I think, at least in the public sphere.
But
yeah, I would probably cringe if I saw it again, but at the time, like, I loved that video. Your brother edited it super well, or the two of you together, I'm assuming. He's like a great video editor.
It got like 20 or 30,000 views, which sounded like a ton at the time, but the popular ones were getting millions. And I think
20,000, it's still a lot for like that era. It's even a lot today.
True.
I can't get 20,000 views on anything.
True, yeah. But I think what held it back was the audio. We were just using in-camera audio, and you could barely hear. You had to turn it up all the way. So I think that really kind of screwed us over.
Oh, you could have slapped a compressor on the audio.
I think we did, and it made our voices pretty weird, but better than not hearing us at all.
Yeah, the audio is important, but for that video, you couldn't have us like talking into mics like this. We would need like a boom mic or like lapel mics or something.
That was super fun though. We basically came up with like a whole video's worth of content just on the spot.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we just looked through some of our notes from going to like art school critiques, and we would just like read a lot of the things we wrote down, or at least I did. And my brother went to art school too. He had a lot of ideas. But I definitely felt a little bit slighted that a few of the other videos were higher than us, but I'm over it.
For shit art students say there was a more popular, and they were not as good. I think ours was the best.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's a bit niche, bit of a niche topic.
So you rediscovered your YouTube password and deleted it permanently?
I don't know. I think it was a huge ordeal. I had several failed attempts over a span of several years. And then finally, I think somehow maybe they connected it to my phone and I was able to pull some strings with you. Or maybe I might have just emailed YouTube and just complained, like, there's this embarrassing video on the internet. Please take it down for me. Or at least they made it private. But I'm sure the original file is somewhere in one of my external hard drives.
If you find it, send it to me. Dropbox it to me or
We
something.
need like a Dolby digitally remastered soundtrack for that.
Yeah. I bet I could like do a little work on the audio.
Can we just dub it right now with these mics?
We could, but we need the video.
Okay.
And we need we'd have to like plan that out a little better. And I don't think it's worth it. We can just use the original audio.
Wow, okay.
The original performances, that's the magic.
Okay.
It wouldn't be the same.
Okay, all right. Respect.
I don't think that was anything to be that embarrassed about, but then again, it wasn't like attached to my real name, so I feel like that makes it. I didn't feel as like awkward about it being out there.
Right. But also that was like when you posted anything to Facebook, and I think I posted to Facebook, so everybody knew I was just this like goofball making fun of art students, and I thought it was super cool at the time.
Which you still are at an even larger scale.
Sure, fair enough.
Can we get into that?
I guess so. Yeah, sure, if you'd like.
I would. And like this is a topic that like I don't really understand the need for secrecy behind the identity of your very popular art meme account. But are you trying to keep it a secret?
There's a few reasons why I don't like to tell people that I run the third most popular contemporary art meme account on Instagram, which is
That yours is the only one I follow, and it seems like the biggest to me. Like everyone I know in art like likes your memes, and like it's very well respected.
Thank you.
But what's bigger than it?
There's we are the oldest. It is the oldest one. Started in 2014. But what's bigger is, of course, Jerry Gagosian, which is like not even a meme account anymore, but kind of was, and now they've kind of pivoted.
Is it like a Seinfeld mashup? Jerry Gagosian?
I think it's Jerry Saltz and Larry Gagosian.
Oh, I see.
And now, I mean, it's Hilda Heffenstein or whatever. She just curated a show for Sotheby's, and so she's like, kind of, she got outed.
So she's a real
person
who has a very popular art meme account, but she's also curating stuff.
She was like a registrar for a gallery. She's like in the art world, kind of peripherally, and then she started this meme account that got really popular really fast. And, but she doesn't really make that many memes. Sometimes she does. Now she's kind of like in art world, trying to be like a spokesperson or that kind of thing. But she's kind of trying to like circle back and be kind of within the art world, I think. And then there's Freeze Magazine, who is another meme account.
Not related to
it's another
Freeze.
kind of like satire of the original Freeze magazine.
And is it spelled differently?
Yes, it's 2 E's instead of
Okay.
IE. But then mine was the original satirical meme account. 100, I was going to say it.
Yeah, hold on. I wasn't going to say it out loud, but...
I wasn't either. Maybe we can edit that. See how many views we get. Wow.
It's a little yellowed.
Oh, gee. I should have brought you a new one. I ordered 100 of them thinking, oh, these are going to fly off the shelves. And I didn't sell any, or maybe I gave a few away. Or I think it was like you get a free hat if you buy a T-shirt. That was the only way I could get rid of them. The backside's way better, though. It just is intern.
I know. I love that.
Yeah.
I need to like bleach it or something. It's
I'll
like
send you
got
a new
sweat
one.
stains.
That's kind of part of it. It's supposed to be all gross and sweaty, and maybe get some paint on it too. Just leave that under your easel.
I think I'll just leave this on the rest of the time, so there's no point in editing out the name.
It looks really good on you.
Thanks.
That would be a good, what's that called? A little Easter egg. We don't mention it, but it's in plain sight.
Similar to the Freeze magazine thing, this is a real thing before you appropriated the name, right? It's like some business list of some, or like
Right.
not business, just art.
It's Art Review Magazine's like annual list of power players in the art world. So the original idea was to kind of like reclaim the power dynamics of this ridiculous list that is just totally arbitrary, of just people deciding other people are powerful, or the people in power, the powers that be in the art world, and trying to kind of reclaim that.
Yeah.
And then
Some of the like funniest, cleverest things about art and art school and the art world.
yeah, it kind of changed. It started off as that, of kind of like reclaiming and kind of like satirizing that list and like the power dynamics in the art world. But then it also kind of coming from me and where I am in my life, like making light of the difficult situation of being an artist in the world and trying to make it through the art world and navigating, trying to forge a career and having studio practice, and I don't know.
Yeah, despite the anonymity of the person behind the account, like there's a lot of things that, because I know you, I know they're pretty close to home for you.
Yeah.
Like some of them are very like specific and personal, while still being universal to people who are in a similar position.
For sure, yeah. There's like elements of it's being, it's quite autobiographical, and
Are your meme accounts about identity and memory?
less so than my paintings.
As it should be.
Yeah, but that's another thing, is like, I don't want people to look at the meme account and then look at my paintings and compare the two and be like, hey, your memes are funny. Why are your paintings not funny, or whatever, And it's like, and also when you think about like me sitting around like making the memes, I don't like the idea of my presence or who I am discoloring the content of the page. So
Right. And I've talked to you briefly about this before, like the idea of like fusing the two identities in some way, but I respect your choice to keep them separate.
Yeah.
It seems very noble or something, not to like I'm having trouble forming coherent sentences right now, but to leverage the success of that page to boost your art, which I think no one would begrudge you for. Like, it's your right. You created that from the ground up, and you built a following, and you just have this other side of your practice that you like could help promote on it somehow.
Yeah, that's always been in the back of my mind, but it doesn't make any sense really. It just feels weird. I mean, I have like,
You've hidden little corners of your paintings.
yeah, there's a
and
few
some-
Easter eggs and things like that. But last week was stressful. I posted a Jeffrey Dahmer meme, and a lot of people reported it. And it got taken down, and it
Oh,
later
wow.
got reinstated. But my account got suspended for almost a whole week.
Oh my God.
So I was quite upset, but
I
they
didn't know
restored
about
it.
that.
And Instagram apologized when I said, "Can I please have my account back?" They're like, "Oh, it was an accident." So I don't know if you get like a certain amount of reportings, you just get taken down automatically, but they gave it back to me.
Maybe. That seems really harsh.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Dahmer meme, but now I really am excited to look it up because we've been watching the Netflix show and pretty hooked on it.
It's pretty hard to get through. It's grueling.
Really? You're not a fan?
After the first episode, I was just so stressed out, and it really puts you in the first person place of being stuck in his apartment, and
Yeah.
it's horrifying. But yeah, there's like it's just a Dahmer meme format that's going around, and I made one. But I think, I don't know, it struck a nerve for some of the people who follow the account, and
Yeah. I've seen a lot of like outrage about things relating to that show going around social
totally,
media.
yeah.
Maybe for good reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is how the word will get out. This podcast will link you forever as the creator of art.
I hope not. I'm fine. I like being anonymous, and then it's not like, then if I do get backlash for a post or something, it's like, oh, it's anonymous. It's not me, But
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a real test. Like, what happens to a meme account that occasionally touches on, like, offensive or problematic subject matter? Like, do people hold that against the person responsible? I bet a lot of people probably assume it's, like, a whole team of people.
Right.
And that is something I was wondering about. Like, do you have help at all, like, creating the memes? And I know you probably get ideas from like your brother or friends. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've got a couple close people to me that will maybe be like, oh, there's this format. This would be funny to do. Or like, this happened to me between a collector. Like, this collector said this in my studio. You should meme it. I'll get kind of tips like that. But I'm generally the one who's actually making them. And it's actually quite distracting because it's a lot of the ideas I get are while I'm painting. So it's like, well, shit, I'm going to forget that. I got to write it down, or I got to make it right now.
do you make it on a computer?
I make it on my iPad,
Really?
generally, or my phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there like an app or something made for generating memes, or is there like
There's
Photoshop?
like there's a website, but you can kind of put it on your home screen. So like Image Flip, I think is what it's called. But I also do some on like Procreate and a few other kind of meme apps. Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating. What's your follower count up to?
I think it's just over 50,000, which is like, it helped a lot during quarantine. Everybody was on their phone, and I think it went from like 10,000 to 50,000 in like 6 months or a year.
Wow.
But then there are a few other accounts that went from like 20,000 to like 120,000. So
If this goes up on YouTube, you should put a link in the story of our.
Definitely.
I know you won't. I'm just kidding. But you can make a
Maybe-
subtle Easter egg.
Maybe someday if Kenny Schachter outs me like he outed Jerry Gagosian, but
Who would do that?
there's that guy Kenny Schachter who's like art world person, and he writes for Art News sometimes. He's kind of an artist. He's kind of a writer. He was all up in like on NFTs and that kind of thing. And then, but he writes for ArtNet News, and he outed Jerry Gagosian a couple years ago.
Was there some like really like politically incorrect thing that was? He was.
I think it was
outed
just
for?
kind of like, oh, let's just do this, because I think if something happened, like he wanted to hire her to manage his booth at a fair, and she was asking like a ton of money, and he was pissed off or something, so he outed her. I don't really understand it, but it was a big kind of scandal in the art meme account community.
Well, you probably don't have any enemies in that way to worry about.
I don't
right?
know. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Hope not.
Well, thanks for talking about it. I wasn't sure if you would be willing to.
We'll see.
or not.
We'll see. Might have you cut it out. I don't know.
It's going to be the climax of the episode.
I love it being. I mean, in my head, like nobody knows. But then I went back to Chicago last night, and everyone's like, "Oh, you run that meme account. Everybody talks about it here." Because I started it while I was in school to get out of writing a paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. So just it's become the stuff of legend.
I
All the
guess,
new
yeah.
students probably hear about it at their orientation. Like they use you as a selling point of that program.
Totally.
How was that show? It was like recent grads in a show or something?
Yeah, it was cool. It was like a curated alumni show because the building that like Chicago has this crazy expensive, really cool, brutalist style architecture building called the Logan Center, and it's just like it's on this like southern tip of the campus, and it's just this like weird community that exists at Chicago where everyone there is just like super smart, and then there's this weird art building, and it's just totally different than the rest of the university. But that building was opened up about 10 years ago. So this is like a celebration of the last 10 years and all the students that went through. So Scott Wolniak, who's a professor there, who I was a TA for when I was in school, he kind of curated a show of like the top, I think it was like 37 artists from the last 10 years.
It's pretty
It's a
selective.
huge group show. Like all the undergrads and grads he picked from. And yeah, it was a great show. There was a lot of good artists in it. And he chose one of my Smokey the Bear paintings, and it got a good spot. And yeah, it was cool. Got to see everyone, and it was a good turnout.
Is it in the same gallery space where like your MFA show was?
Yes. Yeah, Logan Center Exhibitions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Sure.
I wanted to go. It was last night.
It was last night.
Like the opening.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be up for a while, right?
I think it's up for like 2 months, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm thinking maybe we should wrap it up if we're gonna try to get all the way up to Glencoe in the next.
Oh, I forgot you're doing that. Oh, God, yeah, you got to go.
Well, it's until 7, so if we leave now, we'll catch like the last hour.
Right,
It
yeah.
should still be open. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk myself out of not going, which is what I will usually do with any opening. I'll just change my mind at the last minute. But those were, I think, the main topics I wanted to talk about. I won't list them in case we cut any out, and it's not even necessary to do that. But yeah, I think this was good.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for springing this on me.
Thanks for doing it.
It's fun to chat. It's been several years since I've seen you. So
It doesn't feel like that long, I have to say.
you're one of those people in my life, though. It's like it'd be years, and it's like, oh, I feel like I just saw you yesterday. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe it's our doppelganger-like similarity.
That's it.
It's like looking in the mirror.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do part 2, maybe in LA or something.
Please come out.
I'll bring all this equipment and set it up, make you do another podcast
Do it.
every time I see
I'd
you.
be happy to. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Cool.
I wish I had a snappier way to end these things, but I don't. Outro song, acapella.
Oh yeah, go for it.
You lead. I'm just kidding. I don't even have a title for this. I'm thinking it'll just be called like.
Can we dub it? The outro song.
I know a boy, his name is Zach. He loves to fit, he loves to stack. Yes, construction is his knack. He's Zach,
The rap
big old
part?
maniac. He builds in the window, he's off the wall. He builds them big, he
Perfect.
builds them small.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
Rock and roll, he's all wild out of control. Zach.
Thank you, Hunter, for coming.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank
This
you.
has been
Castle Airport Cosmic Fleet Voyager,
Podcast.
sold separately from Lego Systems.
Goodbye.
Oh, we definitely got a good 5-10 minutes. That was fun. That was cute.